Alright, so this will be a review of NZG's Wirtgen W100F in 1/50th scale. This particular model is custom livery in SAT colors, but any other color that you see, whether it's the white Wirtgen color or any other custom liveries, features the same build and detail that you will see on this model. So although this is a custom liveried review, you can get an idea of every other model. Although the other ones will have the different colors. So the functions on this model are actually very nice, and I wasn't really expecting that too much from this model, because it seems like one of those models that you just put on a shelf and don't touch it for a couple of months. But there are actually some really cool functions. Starting from the top, the engine door will open up completely, and nice thing about it is that it will hold in positions. I'm sure it will vary per different model, but for the majority of them it will hold in any position. The roof on it will raise and lower for transport height, and it will go into several different positions, and you can pretty much put it anywhere you want. This is the tallest, and that's the lowest. The steps to get onto the back of the machine are lowered right here, and then you can raise them up right there. The conveyor belt swings left and it swings right, and it will raise up all the way right there, and then it will lower down to right there. And if you look, the cables actually limit the movement. The one bad thing about this is, in order to push it up, you actually have to push on the spreader bar right here, and sometimes it could come uneven. It's a little annoying to do, but it's not like you move it around every 2 seconds. Another thing are the tracks turn. They are limited to movement, but as you could tell, that's very nice. And the back ones turn as well, but obviously limited by the whole compartment over here. Another cool thing, and I think this is the coolest thing, is you can raise the tracks. But one thing you want to watch out for is that you don't actually pull them out, because there is nothing that actually holds them in. It's basically like a cylinder here, and you just pull them down, and the easiest way to get the machine level is just pull them down and then level the machine. And as you could tell, it's raised right there, and I think that's the coolest feature on the whole machine, and I always keep it raised. Another really cool feature is that the door on the right side opens, and before I get to that, I'll show you that this track actually can come in, as shown right there, and then you could push it back out. But this door opens right here, and you just push it up and then swing it out, and it reveals the drum in here, and you could pull out the drum, and NZG gives you 3 different drums. This one is obviously, has less teeth. This one has a medium amount, and this is a very fine coarse drum. And you could put the different ones in, take them out. It's very easy to do, and I like to keep the one that's very coarse, and then put it in and then close it, and then swing your tracks back. And although you can't really see it, if you flip the model upside down, you can see. But as you can tell, not even going into the details of it, the functions on it are probably the best out there on any Miller or coplanar model. Now, the detail on the model is very nice, and one thing that I do want to put out there is, it's a shame that this model doesn't have metal tracks. I do understand how small the tracks are, and you know it would be pretty hard to create tracks that small. But another thing is I don't understand why they're yellow, and they're yellow on every model. And the reason why I got this colored livery because I think that the tracks match the machine best. But anyway, the tracks have the guards on them, which are very nice, and they are metal. You can see all the decaling on the machine is, you know, very nice, nothing to complain about. Everywhere where there's an access point, there's also a bolt detail to go along with it. And if I just focus over here, there you could get a better look at the decaling and the opening engine, and I'm going to keep that open. The side over here has a vent, which you can see isn't etched through, but it's etched in pretty far, and that's good enough for me. Going down to the tracks, you can tell they are rubber. I don't want to roll them because they've been like that for so long. They kind of keep that shape, and if I do roll them, you know, like there'll be a bulge in the center. But you can see that the tracks, you know, are fairly detailed. Keep in mind that these crawlers right here are so small. You can see just, you know, put up against my pinky finger, they're around the size of my pinky finger, so I really don't expect too much detail on them because of their size. The back of the machine is very nice, and I just have to adjust my camera here because of the length of the model. The back of it is very nice. You could get a close-up of the step right here, and you can see it's not etched through, but there is texture on it, and these pieces right here basically stop it from going any further. This cylinder right here doesn't actually do anything. I tried moving it and everything, and it looks to be cast in one piece, and it doesn't even really connect to anything. It's just there for show. The steps and railings, the railings over here are metal, but then the side ones, I'm really, honestly, I'm not too sure if they're metal or plastic. I don't want to bend them or anything because they are very fragile, but I'll go with the benefit of the doubt, and, you know, I'll say that they're metal. They do seem to be metal. All the steps are metal, and this is also metal, and it's textured as well, which is also very nice. Turning, you can see over here, this side of the machine is pretty much the same as the other. So I really don't want to go over that too much. I'll go to the top of the machine and then the conveyor belt, and then we'll go underneath it. It's very hard to see the operator station on this model, but I'll try and do my best. You can see it's got the steering wheel there, the board over here with all the controls. There's really not too much on it. There's a seat right here, computer screen. There's really not much to it, surprisingly. I thought there would have been more coming from NZG, and, you know, being that this is, you know, very exposed out in the open cab, it's not like you really can't see in there. I'm surprised they didn't put more into it, but that's what they gave you. Lowering down the cab so I could give you a better view at it, you can see they give you the warning beacon, which I think is great because a lot of times these machines work at night. So I'm glad that they put that into consideration. Going on to the top of the deck, the engine is a pretty big disappointment. Although I know that is a radiator grill, I'm surprised they didn't add more to it, especially being that you can open it. And usually something that you can open up on a model, everyone always opens and does show. So I'm very surprised that they didn't add anything more to that. But I suppose that, you know, I don't think someone would actually display this model, you know, long term and always display it with the hood open. With it closed, you could see up top it's etched through, and to get a better look at the top, here it is. You can see you have an exhaust, which is metal, and on the front over here you have these mirrors, which unfortunately they are plastic, so do watch out. And then it's got more lights and whatnot in the front over here, which are also plastic, so watch out those don't break off. The conveyor belt is something that I really like. I do wish they will improve one thing, and I'll say that in the build quality portion of the video. But over here you can see the cylinder that would raise and lower, that has the hydraulic lines running to it, and the tarp up top. And I should have did this in the functions, but I'll do it now. It is able to come off, and it snaps back on, and it just comes off just like that. And the reason why I'm doing this here is because then you could get a better view of the tarp. And I don't know if you could see, but it seems like you could roll the tarp, but mine doesn't want to go. A better look at it right here. It's very hard to see in the camera, but there are lines on the tarp to, almost show that it can carry material. Now, I'll show you the drums and underneath the model. Now this one is a very fragile model to lay on its side, so bear with me here. But here is underneath the model, and here you can see the drum. And the drums are, I'm very surprised by the drums of how high detailed that they are. But besides that, here's the conveyor belt that would lead from the drum. You could get an idea right there of the lines on the drum, and pretty much here's a drum, and it can spin. Now going to the drums, here they are right here, and I am surprised by how detailed that they are, especially being casted. I'm very highly impressed by this model, if I must say. And now I will take you to So the overall build quality of the machine is spectacular, combined with the detail. Even over here you can see you have these cables which will limit the movement to where it's not limited where it's a bad thing, but limited to it's a good thing, where the conveyor won't fall down, these thin cables. There are a few things that I'd like to put out there. One thing is, I do wish that this plastic cylinder right here was metal, but they did do a very good job of matching the color to the plastic. It is a tiny bit off, but it's really not something to complain about or stop you from buying the model. Another thing is, I really wish that it would have had metal tracks or even different colored tracks. I don't know if the real machine has yellow tracks, but I highly doubt that it does. Besides that, the quality of it is a typical newly built NZG model. It's, very high quality. Everything on it is pretty much what you would expect coming from it. And I'm most impressed by these drums here, and I like the feature that they give you to switch out the drums. So, the W100F model is spectacular, as you could see from the review. I want to put out there that the live-read versions retail for around $40 more than the standard color one. The standard white one goes for an estimated $80. Some places might sell it for more. You might be able to find it for less, but I've seen it for $80. And I bought this custom live read one for $125, so it was almost $50 more. But I definitely think that it was worth the price, because the yellow tracks don't look too well with the other liveries, I think. So I mainly only bought it so it would match the rest of the model. If you're not sure which one to get, I say get the white one, because it's $80, and for $80 you get a ton of detail and some really cool functions. I'm surprised that the model doesn't retail for more, but being that you could say that there really isn't that big of a market for it, I would assume why. If you have a standard collection of excavators and dozers and dump trucks, pretty much the average construction fleet, I definitely say go with one of these models if you're unsure what to buy, because it really is a very cool model, and I was expecting it to be a lot smaller, but it's actually very decent sized. So I hope you enjoyed this review. All the other colored ones, like I said in the beginning of the review, are exactly the same. It's just the colors that are different. And take care.